being an African living in the diaspora, being an African living in the foreign land, being an African living in the foreign country. Tell me, guys, did you ask yourself in the last day who are going to bury you and where are you going to be buried? The community you used to give your service to, the community you used to have, will definitely stood by you, stood by your family, stood by your children and by your wife to make sure you'll be buried back home in the land of your ancestor.
Technician, entrepreneur, business people, traveler, Fokou Media is your channel. Subscribe, like and share.
Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, please do subscribe. Subscribe for the great content like this one. Today, I just wanted to bring a remark. Do you ask yourself, who's going to bury you when you die? Do you ask yourself, where are we going to be buried when we die? We have that culture to be buried where we was born. We have that culture to be buried where our ancestor was buried. Do we have any guarantee that we're going to be buried where our ancestor was buried? Because as an African, our culture tells us to be buried where our ancestor was born and where our ancestor was buried. Probably in your country of origin. Even if you have been living in the foreign land for 20 years, for 30 years, for 40 years, you need to be buried in your country of birth, where your ancestor was born and where your ancestor was buried. That's why you call certain place the land of our ancestor, because the remaining one of your ancestor and your parent are there, and you wish to be buried there. But the question is, do we live the life who can take us in the last day to the land of our ancestor? As a Bantu people, we live in the community. If you don't live in the community, believe me, you may not have that chance for your remaining one to be taken to the land of our ancestor. You may not have that opportunity so that the people who you're going to leave behind will take your remaining one to the land of our ancestor. You may say to me that after death, you don't care where they put you. But believe me, if our ancestor did not choose a land, that is their land. If our ancestor did not choose a country, that is their country. If our ancestor did not choose a village, that is their village. If our ancestor did not choose a land and make that land their land, having an origin, our end in this earth is also good as our beginning. When we was born, they celebrate. And when we die, we also celebrate. We also celebrate our life. It's true that the celebration of birth and the celebration of death are completely different. But we always call celebration. You know, that stigma to be an African wants you to be buried where your ancestor was buried. Do we prepare our lives in certain way that it will be easy to people who remain behind to bury us in our land? To bury us close to our ancestor? This is the solution which I have noticed in the Cameroon community, in the African community living in South Africa. They apply this solution so that they can guarantee that their remaining one will go back to the land of our ancestor. Guys, what Cameroonian living in South Africa they do, they firstly live in the community. They will have ethnic community, they will have a country community. They will have a community whereby they're gonna gather either every week or either every month. They will choose a certain day that they gather together. When they gather together, they will check the problem of in their community, and they will do donation and they will do contribution to solve those problems. Living in the community, help each other. So they don't have that policy, they don't have that life cover, they don't have that assurance. Their policy is actually to live in the community. And then now, if you are living in the foreign land, the question will be, do you belong to any community who can look after your remaining one when you are not longer existing, when you are not longer in this earth? Do you live with that type of community? If you are not living in that type of community, you should find a community you belong to, so that at least these people can talk on your behalf when you are no longer in this earth. Yes, you may say to me you got your children, but you don't know exactly if your children will be also capable to do that for you. We don't know if your children, by the time you leave this earth, they will be capable to take your remaining one to the land of our ancestor. So belong to a community is actually a form of policy, it's a form of assurance that your remaining one will go back home. Take for instance with my brother who passed on. My brother who some criminal took his life on the 8th of this month. The community take on their own capacity to make sure his remaining one go back home. On the case of my brother, his remaining one will be going back home this Sunday. And then the remaining one will be buried on the land of his ancestor. But believe me, if he were not living in this community like a human being, if he did not know how to socialize with people, if he did not know how to help other people, if he did not know how, or he didn't want to be with people in the society, believe me, in this dark moment, there may be only the family and the children who will be suffering to see if they can take the remaining one home. So guys, this video was just a remark which I find it very important. It's just a remark which I think all African living in the foreign land should do, is actually to live in the community, to live in society. Don't isolate yourself somewhere in one country alone. Live with people. You need to be in the society. You need to live in the group of people where you can help each other. By doing so, definitely in the dark moment like this, in the dark moment like the one who happened to Bouvard, the community which you used to serve, the community you used to give your service to, the community you used to help will definitely stick by you, stuck by your family, stuck by your children and by your wife, to make sure you'll be buried back home in the land of your ancestor with all the dignity, with all the respect as a woman being who was valuable in this earth. If this video makes sense for you, please do subscribe, like the video, share the video. My name is Alphonse Fokou from Fokou Media. I hope to see you next time in my next video.